Is anybody there yet? I'm having a really hard time seeing that far away. I think it is about 7:30, and hello, my name is Melissa from Generation Studio and Shop in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and today is our Prep, Paint, and Stain Part 3 series. So welcome to everybody. And the reason I wanted to do this is because we have people coming into the shop daily asking about doing their own pieces, and I'll take them through the steps, offer for them to come in. Hey Gabriel, I'll offer them the steps to come on, into the shop here, and I can coach them, or we do workshops on bring your own piece in and everything. But I thought it'd be really neat to go do this live and take you guys step by step for all the homeowners that come in and buy, whether it's Fusion Mineral Paint, or we offer the Real Milk Paint Company brand of paint here also, or if you're using a chalk paint, something that you don't buy here, but you want to paint your own piece. So that's why I decided to do this series. So we already did part 1 and part 2, and today is part 3 in this series. And I did some things without you guys yesterday, only because I don't want to keep you here for hours. As much as I'd like you here for hours, I don't want to hold you guys up. So let me just go through the steps for those that didn't see the other two parts of this. The first thing we did was pick out our piece of furniture. The piece I chose is this server or buffet. It had really good bones. So there was just a couple minor fixes. If you have a piece at home that has good bones, by all means go at it. If you need to get some assistance in fixing those, say, a warped door or anything like that, please shoot us a message. We'd be happy to help you, and if we can't, we know a lot of people that know how to fix things. So I'm very fortunate that I have my dad, who's a retired contractor, my real dad, my uncle, my mom, we all come from a line of doers, a DIY family. So I'm very fortunate. So if you run into a problem, please just give us a holler here at the shop, and if we can help you, we will. And if we can't help you, we'll put you in touch with somebody that can. So picking out your piece is very important. I love to get just really cool pieces that have some design, and I really like antique pieces a lot. I always tend to gravitate towards servers for some reason. I absolutely love them, and I love hutches. I think I might have 5 hutches in my house. I'm a collector of hutches, and that's a big thing to collect. After you pick out your piece that has good bones, what we did, we went ahead and removed the hardware. We removed the doors and the drawers. I just think it's easier to do when those things are off. I'll throw in a tip. For my hardware, I'm going to use the same hardware that was on here because I think it's really pretty looking. But I am going to clean it very, very well. And how I do that, not for every single piece of hardware, but for this and a lot of others, what I do is I cook them. I have a, oh my goodness, help me, whoever's on there, help me out with what they're called. A crock pot, thanks. I have an old crock pot specifically for hardware. I just put some baking soda and some water in there, throw my hardware in there, let it cook for a few hours, take it out, scrub it with a good, like a soft scrubby or a toothbrush or something, and then it's ready to take on paint if you scrub it really well. If it has any type of finish on it, like paint or whatever, that should peel right off when you cook it. And then just take a little bit of sandpaper if you need to. A lot of times I don't even need to. Sometimes it'll cook right off everything that needs to be cooked off. So yes, I cook my hardware. So we removed that. After that, what I did was scrub my piece with Crud Cutter Pre-Paint Cleaner. It is a no rinse cleaner. However, as you guys always say, if you follow along with Generations or with other groups that I'm in, I always say rinse everything. I don't care if the bottle says no rinse, I rinse it, because who wants to put hours of time into a piece or a kitchen or a bathroom and have a resist happen with your paint that the paint comes off? You don't want to do that, right? Right. Okay, so I rinsed it, I let it dry, and then I came back the next day when the piece was totally dry, so it wasn't gunking up my sandpaper, and I sanded. I used 220 grit sandpaper. I used the 3M flexible kind. Works really, really well. Whoa, that was a mouthful. Really, really, really well. And so I just sanded the piece. I gave it a light sanding just so it had some tooth on it. for your paint to adhere to, whether it's a primer or a paint. I did not have to prime this piece. I'm not going to prime this piece. I got it down pretty well, and it's not a shiny piece. If it was a shiny piece, I would have used the Fusion Ultra Grip or a primer. Sorry, you guys getting a lot of glare, but there's the Ultra Grip. And that it's really nice to use the Ultra Grip, especially if you're distressing a piece, because it dries clear. So when you distress, you're not going back to white like if you would have used sticks or something. But I did not have to do that on this piece. I don't think I'm going to have any problem with my paint adhering. Fusion adheres very, very well. When we got the paint line in, excuse me, we painted glass jars without using the Ultra Grip because we were so excited just to get them up there. And we were thinking, okay, jars, if it doesn't stick, we'll just do more jars. It's stuck. To this day, I try to scrape it off my jar. It's not coming off, and we did not use that. So I do not have any fear of my paint not sticking to this piece. So after I sanded and provided some tooth, I looked at the top of this, and it is veneer. Most old pieces do have veneer on them. And I looked at it. There was the couple pieces that I needed to glue down, which I did, and put some weight on top of them. And then I used denatured alcohol and steel wool. And I call it stripping. I took all the stuff that was on top of here off, all the polyurethane that had been on there. I scrubbed it off with denatured alcohol and steel wool, and I used the 000 steel wool in case anybody's interested. There is a video of that doing that on our site here, so you can look that up in our videos. So what I did last night that you guys weren't a part of is I gave it its first coat of stain, and the stain I'm using is the Stain and Finishing Oil All-in-One by Homestead House. I get it through Fusion. I am a Fusion retailer, so and I chose Golden Pine is what I chose because I don't think I'm going to paint the inside of this. It's in decent shape. It doesn't smell like sometimes you get pieces that you know, have been around smokers or just mildewy smells. This one doesn't. So I'm not painting the inside of it. It's in good shape. So I wanted to sort of match the top. Not that I would have had to, but I wanted to match the top of this with that. So I did give it its first coat because I just wanted to see how it was going to come out. I don't know if you guys watched the other one. There was a strip on the back of this piece. Let me just see if I can pick it up here. And here's that strip now. Isn't it pretty? And that is just with one coat of the stain on. So we're going to go ahead and put the second coat of stain on this piece. The first thing you want to do is get your gloves on. And I wear my gloves the whole time I'm working on a piece, 99% of the time, only because you don't want to get the oils off of your hand onto your piece of furniture. Because again, that's going to act as a resist. You might not think you have much oil on your hands, but believe me, you do. And especially if you're a lotion person, like if you wash your hands and then put lotion right away. I had a problem with that years and years ago. When I touched a piece of furniture, the lotion acts as resist because it's lotion. So anyway, before I stained the top of this, I taped up my piece. And I like to do that because I like clean lines. For someone that's buying this piece, I don't want to see, you know, drips of paint anywhere. I don't want to see out of the line. I'm a little bit of a, I hate to say it, I'm sort of like a perfectionist when it comes, I like things the way I like them and like I like to sell them to people. I want them to love it and know that it was done great. So that's what I try to do. So one of the things that I do, especially when I'm staining a piece, I run a piece of tape the whole way around it because this ledge underneath here, I like to stain that. I've seen so many pieces that have not been stained underneath there, and it just doesn't seem complete. And not that anybody ever sees it. I see it because I lay on the floor when I'm painting certain parts of a piece. So I run my frog tape the whole way around, and the frog tape that I use, I just like to use the one that's the frog tape for delicate surfaces. That and the green frog tape works really well. So I just string it around there so that I don't have to be extra careful when I'm putting on my stain. Now I already did the second layer underneath there, but so what you want to do is get your stain, make sure you stir it really well. Mine's already been stirred, but I just use whatever I have on hand and stir it up, pop it open, And you don't need anything special to put stain on. And those that know me know that I love a good sock anytime. And you might think that's a little bit strange, but that's what I use. You can use a sponge applicator, you can use a brush, but who doesn't have lost socks at their house? And if you don't know what to do with your lost socks, bring them right into Generations, because I collect my families. I think these were my son-in-law's possibly. So Tom, thank you very much. But what I do is put that sock right over my hand. Normally I do not go right out of the can to use staining. I'll usually pour this in something, but I was afraid with me talking and everything that that I might spill another container. And I have containers of water, but I didn't want a container of stain getting spilled. So I just dip my hand a little bit in here. And what I like to do is start at one end and go with the grain. So you put it in and go with the grain. And for this, now around the edges, I'll go, you know, sideways. I don't so much go with the grain on the edges because it's a little difficult to do. But the rest of it, I go with the grain. It's just a habit I like to get into. So I am going to go ahead and do this whole top because I don't want to stop and get like, you know, marks or anything. Now with this stain and finishing oil, I haven't used it a whole lot, but I can tell you right now that I am loving it. We got it in when they first came out with it. And I was a big fan of Minwax, and I still am. I love my Minwax. But this stuff, it just seems like it glides on so nicely. And this is a very long buffet, so you can see it's going to take a couple trips up and down here to get this. But after we get this all on, what we're going to do is wait about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back and wipe off what did not get sucked in. Now one of the things that I've noticed is to make sure that you have a thin layer so that all the oil can soak down. You want a thin, even layer of your stain putting on. And this does have a little bit of an odor to it. It doesn't bother me that much. I know I have a lot of migraine friends that worry about me, and I just want to tell them because, you know, I'm fighting through that, and I have a lot of followers that are migraineurs that don't understand how I deal with a lot of the smells. And I'll be honest, we use a lot of very low VOC products in our shop because of that reason. But this has a smell just like you'd smell your Minwax. So it's not that bad. I actually enjoy the smell. It doesn't bother me. So I'm done with the top of that. We're going to let that sit on for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm coming around the side just to get the rest of this. Because you want to come back, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes afterwards and soak it up, because you don't want anything pooling, because if it pools, sorry to have my back towards you guys for a second here. If it pools, it's going to sort of stain it a little bit funky, and you don't want funky. All right, so we'll come back in about, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to try to keep an eye, and then what I'll use is just a dry sock, clean, lint-free sock to wipe it back. And I think this one is from my daughter, so thank you, Chelsea. So let me get my lid back on here. Sorry if you're seeing the top of my head. And let me wipe off my gloves a little bit here. Alrighty. Sorry about that, guys, but the stain does soak into your glove, and I don't want to get that on the rest of the piece of my piece of furniture that we're doing. Okay, so now what do we get to do? We get to remove the tape for one. I'm going to go ahead and remove that so that we can start painting. And since that's why I did the underneath. That's why I did the underneath prior to coming live, because I didn't want it dripping there at all if it was going to drip. So just take that piece off. And I have the rest of my body of my server all taped up where I don't want paint to possibly get. Okay, so like I have right here taped off so that I don't get it on this like insert here. I also taped alongside here because I do want to paint this top of this piece. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm sorry, you're sort of far away for that. But I do want to paint this, but I didn't want to get it totally inside because then there's no stopping point. So to me, that looked like a very, very good stopping point to start painting. Excuse me, one second. I talk too much, whew, and then I get out of wind. Okay, so you guys helped me choose Bayberry. Look at this beautiful color. Look, look, look. You guys, you chose this, and that's what we're doing. It is going to be fabulous. So make sure you shake up your paint really, really well. A lot of paints that we use when we do kitchens and stuff, we don't shake because we don't want bubbles. We actually just stir. But this paint does really well with a good shake. It does very, very well. You want to make sure that you get all the minerals off the bottom. That is why. So you can stir this, but I would recommend shaking this as well. Hi, Carrie. Good to see you. Or I can't see you, but good to have you here. So for Fusion Mineral Paint, they use the minerals right out of the ground. More minerals than most paints have in them that are mineral paints. So all the sediment lays on the bottom. So you just want to make sure that's all shaken up. Okay, you guys ready for some color? I'm ready for some color. Okay, now I can't set this on top of this piece because we just did that. Oh, look, I told you I'm so ill prepared. But I told you I never painted anything with this Bayberry. I didn't even have one open. All right, so there's that. And with Fusion Mineral Paint, what I like to do, these are Stelmeister brushes, and they are fabulous brushes, especially with this paint. You can see it has a nice ferrule on it, bristles that sort of taper in. It's awesome. And if you're wondering what I'm pulling it out of, I'm pulling it out of water. If I was in my back and in the back workshop where I work most of the time, I would have down paper or plastic. Now I do have a little bit of plastic here, but not enough to shake this baby out, but I would actually just shake it out on the floor. So what I'm going to do is just grab some paper towels and suck some of that water out. You don't want it dripping wet, but you do want your bristles wet. It helps the paint slide right off of those bristles a little bit better. So you don't want, yeah, there's no more paint or no more water coming out of there. So we're gonna use this, but we're also, we're gonna cut in. I don't wanna tape underneath here because it was freshly stained. So I'm just going to use my cut-in brush. My favorite cut-in brush is the Purdy Clear Cut Dale. So we're gonna go ahead and start with that as soon as I can relocate here a little bit. Oh, something else I wanted to show you. These drawers came out beautifully. They had contact paper in them. Well, the one had contact paper in it. My mom and I sat today and like got them all out, but we cleaned the drawers. I mean, aren't they beautiful? I think I'm gonna line them with something, but they turned out gorgeous. I like to give, when people buy a piece, I want them not to get anybody else's gunk. So, so we clean those out. But I'm gonna use my Purdy brush and cut in just underneath the lip here a little bit. All right, hopefully you guys can see. And I'll bring you in closer then towards the end if I remember to do so. Let me put my goggles on here. All right. It's heck getting old and having to wear your goggles to see, right? Need to get to the, I need to get to the eye doctor and get a pair of real glasses instead of just these readers. I've reached that point. Reached that point in life. And I know you guys can't see very well, but this, there's a lot of detail up here, so I want to make sure that I'm getting it just so. But like I said, I did not prime this. It didn't need to be. If it was a shiny surface, I would have went ahead and put that Ultra Grip on it, but it didn't need to. Now these up here, it's going to take just a little bit more because there are a lot of grooves, but I don't want to use my Stelmeister up here because it's just a little thick. They do have smaller Stelmeisters, but I just grabbed my big one for the main part of the body of this piece of furniture. So get in all the, this thing is so wonderful. It has little tiny divots the whole way along the top. And I won't bring you guys along for the ride for the whole thing, obviously, because I'll be here a little bit painting this evening. So just make sure you get in all your little divots. And you know what? If you're distressing this, you don't even have to worry about getting in every tiny detail. And guys, I just want to let you know, I normally pour my paint out a little bit, so I'm not going right out of the can. I'm sorry that I went right in there. I was thinking about that with the stain. But you literally just pour a little bit. This stuff goes a long way. I think 1 pint covers like 75 square feet. So isn't that a beautiful color? Look at that, yay! Okay, so we're gonna go around the edge here. And the thing with the Stahlmeister, you just have to hold it sort of at an angle and pull it down. It is such a nicely weighted brush. It is just gorgeous to put on this paint. I mean, it works so, so well. And I'm gonna come in here. And I'm sorry to have my back to you. I'm on my hutches. You guys are down on my haunches. You guys are gonna see me fall on my face here shortly. So we're gonna go in like this. And I do have my tape there, so I don't have to worry about that, and then come back over your edge. You guys, this is gonna be stunning. If anybody wants to purchase this that's in the area, get your call in now, because I have a feeling it's not gonna last long. I can already tell with this first swipe of this brush. I'm gonna add some different colors in this as well. You guys, I'm sorry for having my back towards you. I should have brought the, you know what, let me see if I can bring it down so you guys can see a little bit better. Give me a second. Hold the line, please. Let me see if I can do this without dropping you. Okay, where are you at? There you are. There, can you see? That makes it better, doesn't it? Hi. All right, so I'm gonna actually move this door out of the way. And like I said, I'm not gonna do this whole piece with you here because you don't wanna see that, but I just wanted you guys to be able to see the start of the color. And like I said, this is bayberry, so if anybody has some green going on in their house, in your dining room, or, oh, this would be beautiful in a foyer. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was running all day and it's catching up to me. So these Stahlmeister brushes work really well around the legs because you just take them around like that and just form them, and they just go, oh my gosh, they go so nicely. Can you guys see? Oh, do you see the detail? Isn't it beautiful? It's absolutely, and then down here on the legs, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can bring the phone in a little bit closer. But when I go and distress that, these details are just gonna be amazing. Amazing. And then just the detail of the scroll work, I mean, it's gonna be really super special. And that same detail is down here also. We're gonna go ahead and do that. Finish up down here. I'm getting all over the place, and that's what I do. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know if I can lower you any more than you already are, but there we go. Like there's lines in here as well that just are going to be gorgeous. And I haven't decided if I'm using. I probably use espresso wax with this, and I think that would bring out the top. But usually until I get the whole thing like painted, I don't like know exactly what I'm going to do with it as far as the finish goes. But anyway, that's a gorgeous. I'm so glad that you guys chose this color. I mean, can you see? It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So like I said, I'm not going to keep you on the whole time here. I'll show you one of the doors, and then I'm gonna, can you see the doors? There's the bottom of the door. And we're gonna do the same thing here, just take it the whole way down. Make sure you turn your brush a little bit just to get in the nooks and crannies. This isn't the way I normally paint by holding this door up like this, but I wanted you guys to be able to see. But can you see how nice that paint goes on there? It's just heavenly. I know I'm a little weird, but this is what I do for a living, so I really like it a lot. But that's what it's going to look like there. You have half of a door painted green and half just plain for right now. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to let this dry, paint it, and then let it dry a little bit. And then I'm going to come back and do a wet distress on it before I go home tonight. And the reason I'm going to do that, I'm going to see if I can get 2 coats on this. With the coverage it has, it should only need about 2 coats. So then after I get the 2 coats on, what I'm going to do is come back and wet distress it. And the reason I am doing that, sorry that I'm on the floor down here, but the reason I'm going to do that is because Fusion sets up it cures so hard that sometimes if you want to distress something, it takes a little bit more muscle to do it. And I don't like putting a lot of muscle on wood. So what I do, let me crawl over here real fast. What I do, sorry for the top of my head, guys. I'm sure you don't need to see that. But I just have some water here. And what I want to do is take another sock. I don't know whose this is. I'll throw Madison's name in there since I didn't get a sock from her, but let me throw her in there so she doesn't feel left out. And I just take a piece of wood or a tongue depressor or anything. These are parts that my dad cut off of those really long, like 5-gallon stir sticks. He cut these off because I wanted them shorter, but they work great for this. So the reason I do it this way is just so that it has some resistance to it. So I put it in the sock, make it very taut, just like this. Dip it in the water. I don't want it soaking wet. Like I dip it in, but then I usually have like a smock on or my pair of jeans or whatever, and I just like sop it up a little bit. So this is a little bit of, just damp. And what I do as far as wet distressing, like if I wanted to, oops, let me move you up. If I wanted to wet distress this corner where you would get hit, you just come in and take and distress it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you over here so that you can see it, and then I'll paint over it just because I don't think I want distressing right on this, but well, maybe, we'll see. So you take it like this and rub the little bit of paint away. The reason I do wet distressing is because it looks more natural to me than taking sandpaper to it. A lot of times the sandpaper will go down into like the wood, and you don't want it to do that. So that's how I wet distress. I put something hard inside a sock or a piece of cloth and just go over it. Now this paint is way too early to be wet distressing, but I wanted to show you how I do it. I'll usually let it sit in there like until I get this painted, come back around and do a second coat. I'll probably let it sit for maybe a half hour and then just come back and wet distress it. And if you don't have time to do that, it's no big deal. You can actually distress it the next day, and if I get too pooped out tonight, I might just wait until tomorrow. But you can still wet distress it. It just takes a little bit more muscle. And you always can use sandpaper. This is my preferred method, okay? So I think I'm almost out of breath. So everybody that's on there, hey Wendy, thanks for watching. Nice seeing you. You'll have to come down to Mechanicsburg real soon. You're not that far away. I'm thinking about having a like open house for people that live around the area. I had to talk to my mom about that, but it would be really cool to meet some of our followers that don't live right here in Mechanicsburg, but also for those that do, that can come in and maybe we'll do some, food and drinks and whatnot, just to see everybody and thank you for following us. And I guess we're going on our 2-year mark here in August. We didn't open till November, so November will actually be our 2-year as far as having a brick and mortar. So maybe that's just a great way of saying thank you for everybody. Hey Emily, how are you? How's Finn? Emily has a dog that loves to come to Generations. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys go, but I'm going to continue with this piece. Can you guys see just how the colors are going to go. Can you see the top of that? Which reminds me, I have to wipe back the top just to get any pools off. I don't think there were any, but I just want to make sure, and then we're going to leave that sit. I wasn't going to do another one tomorrow, but we'll see. I have to run in the morning and pick up some kitchen or bathroom doors tomorrow. So I might just bring you back because I think we're going to do like a wipe on poly on the top. Fusion has a great one. It is a it's actually a matte, but it looks a little bit shinier than matte. It's somewhere in between a matte and like a satin on most things. So I think I'm going to use that just because every other product on here is Fusion. But if I wanted it to be a little bit more shiny, I love Minwax's Wipe On Poly. It does great with a sock. You put it on and wipe it on and it's good. You can put 1 or 2 coats on, and I do want to do that on the top of here because I'm hoping this finds its home in someone's house, either in their dining room or foyer or something, where it's loved and well used. So okay guys. Oh, Karen, hey, you caught me at the end, but thank you so much. Rewatch it. If you have any questions, put them down below, and like I said, if anybody in the area wants this piece, you let me know before somebody comes in and snags it, okay? All right, you guys, I'll probably see you tomorrow. Have a great night. I think, what is today? Today is Thursday? Yep. So we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Friday. We'll see you, and I'll put out the time ahead. All right, see ya. Have a great night, guys. Bye.